Hello all, welcome to another session in this course. As part of this session, I am going to cover the next topic, that is using super keyword in method overriding in JavaScript. So let's get started. The topic is how to use super keyword when you implement method overriding in JavaScript. Super keyword in method overriding I'm going to cover in this session. Yeah. So in the previous session, I already have covered method overriding, how to implement method overriding in JavaScript, how to implement. I already covered how a child class can have the same method that is there in the parent class, how that method in the child class, which is same as the method in the parent class, is say to override the method in the parent class. I already have covered in the previous session, but I forgot to add one line there in the previous session that I'll cover in this session. That is, what is the purpose of method overriding, first of all? You see, there is a parent class and there is a child class. The child class is inheriting the properties from the parent class. Okay, the bottom one is the child class, the above one is the parent class. The child class is inheriting the properties from the parent class. Now the parent class has a method known as sample method. Let's assume that, for example, this has a sample method. The same sample method is now there in the child class also. Then the method, this particular sample method in the child class is said to override this sample method in the parent class. That we know that, right? Now, why we have to use method overriding? Why we have to implement method overriding in JavaScript? The reason behind that is, if the child class want to have its own implementation, okay, even though this particular sample method can be inherited by the child class from the parent class, but the implementation need to be same, right? But what if you create the same method which is there in the parent class and the child class and can have a different implementation according to the child class needs? That's the main purpose. Method overriding is actually used in any programming language, that too in JavaScript also. Okay, the child class, the same method need to be implemented separately in this child class. In that case, we are going to override the method, guys. That is the purpose of the method overriding in JavaScript. Okay, when you override a method in JavaScript, and if you still want to call the parent class method which is overridden by this child class method from within the child class method, then we have to use a keyword known as super keyword that I'm going to cover in this session. For that, let me launch Visual Studio here and let me explain how to use a super keyword in method overriding to call the parent class method which is overridden by the child class. So already in the previous session I have written this code, guys. Already in the previous session I have written this particular code, okay, where we have the parent class and this is a child class, and the parent class has a method known as eat method. The same method is created inside the child class of this animal class, which is dog class is the child class of the animal class. The same method in the parent class is again recreated in the child class, but its implementation is different. The reason, what is the reason why this particular method is overriding this method in the parent class method? Because the child class want to have a separate implementation. Here you see dog is eating, but here animal is eating. Okay. Now the child class want dog is eating to be printed instead of animal is eating. In that case, the child class can override the method in the parent class so that it can have the same name as the method name in the parent class and can have different implementation. That's the reason why method overriding is required. Now, when method overriding is there, what if I create an object for the child class? If I create an object for the child class and using the new keyword and all, and I'll create an object reference and declare this object reference as const starlet, whatever it is, and using this object reference, when I call the eat method, which method will be called? This method which is inherited into the child class will be called, or a child class its own method will be called? The child class its own method which is overriding the parent class inherited method will be called. That means this method in the child class will be called having its own implementation, right? So if I go here and open this terminal here, okay, so I just move the terminal to the right side, guys. Okay, that's okay. Just right click here somewhere. Okay, so just give me some area, just right click here, and if you want to panel position to the bottom, it will come to the bottom, guys. But if you want it on the right side panel position, right click somewhere in the blank area of this terminal, bar and simply say panel position is right. So it will come to the right side and you can adjust the width also. Okay. And like this, you can see the code at same time. You can see the output properly here. Okay. Fine. Anyhow, let the code be like this. And here will be, you know, I'll just say, what is the problem? Okay. Yes, I'll say clear, guys. Clear. And this is the thing. Okay. Fine. Now we are good. So what I will do here is, what I'm going to do here is, here I'm going to run this code. So node space, what is the name of the file and extension? Demo.js. If I run this, you see, dog is eating is coming. This is all good. But what if when I call this overridden method, okay, using the object reference, the overridden method is being called, right? Now, when I call this overridden method, automatically if I want to call the parent class method also, okay, and then this statement should be run. So within the overridden method, if you want to call the parent class method, okay, from the method in the child class, if you want to call the parent class method, so here we have a keyword known as super keyword, guys. Okay, when method in the child class and method in the parent class have the same name, and if you want to call the method in the parent class, so there is an ambiguity, right? If I simply say eat means which method will be called? If I simply say eat means which method will be called? This method only will be called. Okay. What if I say super dot each? In this case, which method will be called? Super means parent. Parent of the current class is animal. So parent class each method will be called. Okay. So even though I'm creating an object for the child class and using the object reference when I call the eat method, this eat method will be called. But the first statement is super.eat. Using the super keyword, it's calling the parent class methods, eat method in the parent class. So first animal is eating will be printed. After that, dog is eating will be printed. If I run this code, you can see that animal is eating, dog is eating will be printed. So this is how we need to use a super keyword in a child class method to call the parent class method, guys. Okay. So hope guys you understood how to use super keyword in method overriding in JavaScript, and also hope you understood what is the purpose of using or implementing method overriding in JavaScript also I covered in this session. So that's all for this session. See you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.